DBT, Emotion Regulation 7. In this session, we're going to look at accumulating positive emotions over the long term. It's hard to be happy without a life experienced as worth living. This is a fundamental part of DBT. Building such a life requires attention to one's own values and life priorities over the long term. This can take time, patience, and persistence. Accumulating events that make a life worth living is like saving pennies in a piggy bank. A life worth living is a life you value and contains things you value. So let's think about how we go about building a life worth living step by step. The first step is to avoid avoiding. The central problem for many people is that they avoid doing what needs to be done to create a life worth living. Factors that can interfere with this include not knowing what you want in life, moodiness, emotional overload, and an inability to accept that life is often unfair. Next, identify some values that are important to you. Values are things that really matter, what you cherish about life. They are your highest priorities in life. They're not goals or outcomes, and they're not in the future. Values can change over time, and they're often not very simple to figure out. They can also change as a result of major life events, and can also be in conflict with one another. Questions to ask yourself regarding your values might be: what in life are your highest priorities? What in life really matters to you? What is the direction you want your life to go in? And what is in your life that you really don't want to lose? Perhaps start by identifying 2 important values that are already present in your life. This might include things you already have, such as people to do things with, or secure and safe surroundings, or things that you're already doing in your life, like working towards goals or treating people equally. Then decide whether your values are really your own. Often we've made other people's values our own values without even thinking about it. We value others' opinions of us, and so we live according to their values to get their approval. It can be hard to live to our own values when we want to fit in with others, but to have a life worth living, we need to live to our own values. To help figure out if your values are really your own, perhaps ask yourself, if you could act according to a particular value but couldn't tell anyone about it, would you still do it? So for example, if being an educated person is an important value to you, but you couldn't tell anyone that you're taking courses to further your education, would you still take the courses? If anything was possible, what direction would you want your life to go towards? This isn't about what you think is realistic or what others think you might deserve. Now identify just one value to work on now. Most people have many important values, but try to focus on just one that's your highest priority. Otherwise, the task will feel too big and overwhelming. Be sure to pick a value that you actually want to work on at this time in your life. Look at what's in your life right now and that you really value, and what valuable things are not in your life right now. Maybe think about what areas your current life doesn't match your values very well, or if your own behaviour is in accordance with your wise mind values. Then identify a few goals related to this value. Goals are something specific that you can achieve. So identify a few goals that will get you closer to your values. Then once you've achieved a goal, you don't have to work on it anymore. For example, if your highest value is contributing to the larger community, you could do that all your life. And a goal that could get you closer to that value would be to get a part-time volunteering job perhaps. And then once you've done that thing, you've achieved that goal. Next, think about what goals will get you closer to living your value. Goals need to be specific. So ask yourself, what's one thing you could accomplish that would be in accord with the value you're working on? What's one thing about your behaviour that you could change in order to be living in accord with the value you're working on? So for example, if your value is to make a great deal of money, your goals might be to get an education, then to look for a high-paying job or one with potential advancement. If your value is to live in safe and secure surroundings, your goal might be to get a flat in a safe area of the town. Or if your value is to have a steady income that meets your basic needs, your goal might be to get a job. If your value is to have close and satisfying relationships with others, a goal might be to make one friend. Make sure your goals are reasonable. There's no point in setting yourself up for failure. If the value is to compete successfully with others, setting yourself a goal to be a national tennis champion in 2 years when you've never had tennis lessons in your life is unrealistic. Then choose just one goal to work on now. You can't work on every goal related to a value at once. It can be very helpful to organise goals in a list, with the most important and realistic goal at the top of the list. Once you've chosen a goal, then identify small steps towards achieving it.